Hello everyone, and welcome again to Daily Grace with Pastor James. I'm so glad that you're joining me again today. We are still in this transformation series, and today we are going to be looking at relationship, relational health. Now, when we talk about relationship, we would discover and know that God actually was the person that created and instituted what we call relationship today. He created the earth, He created everything, He created Adam, and then He also noticed that although all the animals in the field, in the garden, they all had a partner, a mate, but Adam did not have a partner. And He knew that it was good for Adam to have a partner, so He made Adam to sleep, and He took a rib out of Adam to create Adam's helpmate, which was called Eve. Eve was meant to be Adam's helpmate, and their relationship was so perfect because there was no sin. But when sin now set in, the relationship crumbled and they started having issues. They started having problems. Now, this is the Satan, this is the enemy that actually lured them. If we go to the book of Genesis chapter 3, and if we read from verses 1 to 10, we'll see where when God have created them and put them in the garden, He told them, you can eat of any fruit at all in the garden, anyone at all in the garden except one. And you can agree with me that that is a minimal temptation. But of course, the enemy came. He's called the crafty one, and craftily asked them, did God say you should not eat out of the fruits in the garden? But God did not say that. God said you can eat out of any fruit in the garden except one. And Eve, who also knew that that was what God said, repeated what God said to Satan. Then why did she eventually fall for that trick? And then when she fell for the trick, she ate that particular one that they said they should not eat and gave to Adam, who was there with him. And Adam also ate. That is disobedience. And that created problem. That created a lot of issues. So today we just want to quickly look at how we can confront the fears that destroy relationship. The fears that destroy relationship. That's what we are going to be looking at now. And there are three key fears that destroy relationship. The first fear that destroys relationship is the fear of exposure. The fear of exposure, and that makes us distance. When they disobeyed God, they looked for a fig tree to pluck and cover their nakedness, because before then they did not even know that they were naked. And of course, the Bible said they were ashamed and they hid from God. That is why when God came, He said, Adam, where are you? Why are you hiding? It's not that God did not know what they have done. It's not that God did not see them for where they are. But God wanted Adam to own up, to take responsibility for what he has done with the wife. But what then happened? Adam, the blame culture, the blame tactic, first blame God, that it is the woman that you gave to me. In other words, God, why did you give me this woman? And of course, rather than taking his own responsibility, he said, It is the woman that gave it to me. And that's why they were running away from God. The fear of exposure of what they have done, the wrong, the disobedience that they have done. And when you look at that disobedience, it comes in 3 phases. The first one is they were ashamed of themselves, ashamed of what they are doing, because they can now see their nakedness, which they were not seeing before. And then they were trying to cover up, which most of us do. After we have done wrong, rather than owning up, we want to cover up what we have done. And anytime we sin, there is that distance between us and God. There is that distance between us and any relationship that we have going on. So the first thing there, the first fear, is that fear of exposure that makes us keep our distance. And the second fear is the fear of disapproval. The fear of disapproval. Now we have done something. We have done something wrong. We know that it's something that we are not supposed to do, but we have done it anyway. So rather than own up, because we know if we own up, they are going to disapprove of what we have done. They are going to reject us for what we have done. And of course, what do we do naturally? We want to create a defensive mechanism. We want to start defending why we did that, or want to start pointing accusing fingers at others. That is the second fear that ruins relationship, the fear of disapproval. Why do you want people to approve of you? The only time that you should be seeking approval is God's approval. Once God has approved of your life, you go ahead with it. You don't need anyone's approval other than God's approval. And that is why we just fall for all these social media things, because people go to social media thinking that that is where they are going to get approval from. And when they don't get approval, every single day they wake up, they want to see how many likes, how many people have commented on their post. Those are fears of approval. And of course, the third fear is the fear of losing control. Majority of us will want control. And any time in our lives that we feel as if we're trying to lose that control, then we begin to give orders. We begin to see how we can bring people under control. We begin to see how we can just be doing things to, put barriers. And these are the things that Adam and Eve actually wanted, that created the problem. They wanted control. Because the enemy told them that no, that's a lie. So God's truth, he turned it into a lie, that if you actually eat this, you are going to become like God. And they wanted to become like God. That is why they fell for it. But when they fell for it, even the control that they had, they lost it. They lost control of the garden. They were thrown out of paradise. They lost control of their destiny. They lost control of everything that God has given to them, that they were enjoying as a perfect couple before sin came in. Let's try and avoid or destroy these 3 key fears that ruin relationship. How do we do that? The only antidote that you can use to do that is the love of God. The love of God. Thank you so much for listening to me in this episode. So glad that you have joined me again. My name is Pastor James Egodibie, and I'm the pastor of RCCG Solid Rock Parish, Derby. If you are in Derby and you don't have a Bible-believing church, we would certainly welcome you to worship with us. And if you have enjoyed this episode, why not share it to other people? God bless you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.